If he had every pound in the world, and somebody came to Barry and said, listen, by the way, you haven't got every pound in the world. I've just been to Greenland and I've seen an Eskimo with £2. Barry would be in the first plane to meet that Eskimo in Greenland and relieve him of his £2.
85% of the deals that are done in boxing are complete verbal agreements. I want a written agreement with Barry.
Please, I have no time for these people. I have time for proper people, men that stand up and be counted.
Listen, you was told you was on at 7:45. You were supposed to be here at 6:30. You can't be part of a professional organisation. You make your own arrangements. You were supposed to be here at 6:30.
I knew what time it was when I was said 8 o'clock. The boxing was on.
So you got here at 25 too. I ain't having it, Vince. You're running proper shows here. I've got proper kids on, and you go and play the game or you go elsewhere. It's as simple as that. No, this is a professional organisation. I wouldn't put you in 20 minutes. You ain't warmed up. You ain't got nothing. Now, Vince, get yourself sorted or pack the game up.
I'm only ever interested in winners. It's not in me to be sympathetic to losers. That's not hard. It's just the fact that in business and in sport, you can only judge success by how many times you win.
In the rough, tough world of boxing, a seat at ringside is where you'd expect to find the man who aims to dominate the sport. Barry Hearn plays to boxing's working-class image and is totally comfortable with the Essex man stereotype.
Then slide. You've got to wake himself up. He ain't doing nothing.
But don't be fooled. Hearn is not all he appears. While his rivals were learning the ropes in the boxing ring, Barry was learning a rather different craft. At 21, Barry Hearn became Britain's youngest chartered accountant.
I'm not a typical chartered accountant, probably. Not too many of them in boxing circles. It was a great education for a wide-ranging aspects of management and sports management, because it taught you so much about contracts, about the basic law, accounts, finance, taxation. It was a good introduction to what I ended up doing.
Mark Delaney, he's a super middleweight, so we compare him with Eubank, we compare him with Ben, we say he's going to knock out Ray Close, he's going to destroy everyone, and the kid's good enough to perform. Gary Delaney, because he's more advanced, we concentrate on him being the next light heavyweight champion of the world. Now, what we've got to do is to make sure that they are more widely known to the boxing and sporting public. We want to make sure that we've got in-depth features in all of the major national tabloids on the fighting Delaney brothers. I need to know what music they like, I need to know if they've got any bad social habits, I need everything about them, because there's an angle there with all of them. John, on the
Creating headlines comes easily to Barry Hearn. Even critics agree he's the king of hype. His most spectacular success in manufacturing a personality is Chris Eubank. The public has swallowed the Eubank myth, hook, line and sinker, despite many poor showings in the ring.
You get on these and get your name.
I think everybody overestimates, including Chris Eubanks himself, his value.
I've never said, nor has Chris Eubank said, that he's the best fighter in the world. I think he's the most charismatic in the world at this moment in time. From a commercial drawing power, he is outrageous, he is eccentric, he's a bloody good fighter.
Hello, Barry Hearn.
How are you?
Doing the best I can, Barry.
Under the
for a
circumstances.
poor guy from the ghetto.
Oh, hang on a second, we'll have a quick writ round for you.
Eubanks in Belfast for a rematch with local boy Ray Close. But it's Barry who gets his man onto tomorrow's back pages. Coconut-drinking warriors make great pictures. Taylor's dummies do not.
I have to sell shows or ideas or personalities. If I can come up with something that helps them sell their newspaper and do their job, and they can give me the exposure that I need, we're both happy and we live in harmony.
If Eubank wins, this will be his last fight on ITV. Hearn has lined up a multi-million-pound move to arch-rival Sky. The stakes are so high, even Barry is losing his cool.
And if he's happy, I'm happy. But if my fire's not happy, we don't do it. And don't tell me one rule, because you have Nigel Benn with half a dozen geezers every single show he has in the corner. So don't tell me about the British Boxing Order Control. Nigel Benn always has private security. Your shows. Anyway, what's the big deal about 3 or 4 geezers around here? Where's the big deal?
my life, my sense of living, my self-esteem, my pride, my substance, I'm on the line. You understand? So it's far from over. The only time it's over is when a fat lady sings. That comes from Barry Hearn. That's what the man says. This man is somehow, I think his heart is good. I don't know why it's good. I mean, you don't find promoters with good hearts. They usually use fighters as meat. This man gives a fair deal.
Barry, I'm afraid, has had a reputation for mistreating people along the way. This may be an unfair reputation, but it's certainly one that he has acquired.
You've only got to live with yourself, no one else. If you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, you did okay, I'll settle for that.
He's one of the most charismatic characters I've ever met. Of that there is no doubt. But I think there was a point, and that point was probably 3 or 4 years ago, where Barry fell into the trap of believing his own hype.
No, I mean, I think Ian, he's a good manager. He's done everything a manager can do, mainly copied me, which I don't blame him for. He's one of my fans.
As he comes down to this final pink. And that's it, the World Snooker Champion, 1981, Steve Davis.
Barry Hearn has been through a sport once before. In the 1980s, his matchroom snooker team rode the roller coaster of success. Steve Davis collected 6 world titles. Hearn collected players like Cliff Thorburn, Jimmy White and Willie Thorne.
It was the days when, young kids were coming, like myself, Davis, were coming from a working class background, and all of a sudden the world was our oyster and people were paying us for the pleasure. It was almost like fantasy land.
He's done it. Dennis Taylor becomes Embassy World Snooker Champion 1985.
Immediately after this, Dennis Taylor signed to Matchroom and in the next 3 years earned over £1 million. But the bubble was about to burst. Several players, including Taylor, quit Matchroom amidst allegations of financial mismanagement.
Barry Hearn never signed a player without saying, I will do the business, the player will do the business on the table. Now, Dennis Taylor, one of my players, who was with Matchroom for a period of 6 years, Dennis left, and his tax affairs, frankly, were in a shambles. And it resulted in Dennis having to pay absolute fortunes in tax. And that was back tax that should have been dealt with and handled at that point in time.
Ian told me the figure we paid over £200,000 in tax. Now that's an awful lot of money to pay out.
If they believe there was any mismanagement, take the necessary action. Sue. Don't talk about it. Any child can whisper behind corners. Be a man. Stand up and sue. My pleasure. Because there was no mismanagement. Perhaps I'm spoiled. Now I'm into boxing, I deal with proper men. I deal with men that stand up and be counted every day of their lives.
In 1988, Bill Sinrich of American TV company TWI joined forces with Hearn and his rival promoter Frank Warren in a plan to televise an ambitious snooker tournament. But the deal fell through, and according to Sinrich, the partners put the idea on ice. He claims that 2 years later, Hearn took the concept to a satellite broadcaster behind his partner's back.
It came to my attention in 1990 that Barry was having discussions with what at the time was Eurosport about such an event. Barry, of course, said, this event has nothing at all to do with our agreement, and I'm sorry, Bill, but you're not party to this arrangement.
They wanted to contract us separately to promote the event under contract for them, but it wasn't the same as owning the event. The event was owned by Sky.
I approached the Murdoch people and showed them the contract that we had signed with Barry. They phoned Barry and said, Barry, we do think that this is a legitimate cause for concern, and Barry quickly capitulated, and we became involved as his partner in that event.
Bill's a good operator. He managed to clinch the contract for the production, so he was quite happy. He got paid as well, so everybody was happy.
One great thing about Barry Hearn, he is a wonderful PR man. He's created a tremendous image, but some of the things are myths. Let's take Matchroom Country Club. biggest sponsorship deal that had been entered into by a snooker team.
All the players that were involved would tell you that the figure Barry had mentioned, that we would earn over 5 years something like 1.6, 1.7 million over the 5-year period. Well, all the players thought this was very nice. We're going to get all this money for doing a nice bit of publicity and going out and spending a bit of time in the sun and playing a bit of golf around Nias at the complex. So it all sounded good.
Now, I can say on behalf of Dennis Taylor, and I can certainly say on behalf of other players, they've never seen a penny piece from Matchroom Country Club.
Not only was every penny of that money circulated into the events or the endorsement or the sponsorship income that they all participated in, several £100,000 more than that was generated by Matchroom elsewhere that also went into their pockets. They had the benefit of playing in the Matchroom Champion of Champions. They played in the Matchroom League. They received endorsement income, personal appearance income. All of this was going into their accounts on a regular basis. Some of this came from the Matchroom Country Club.
If he did do that, well, then he was having a double killing, because if the money was going into the Matchroom Championships, he was then getting another 20% out of the prize money we were getting from that.
If Hearn's ambitions to control boxing are to succeed, he needs to conquer America. The big paydays are in the heavyweight division, and with WBO champion Herbie Hyde in his stable, Hearn has just entered boxing's Premier League. Hearn, the arch media manipulator, wastes no opportunity. If Lennox Lewis is fighting, the world's boxing press must also be in town.
The whole point of bringing Herbie to Atlantic City is not for a holiday, it's to be here, to be seen, to talk to try and put the seed in people's minds. I wonder how good he is. Shall we give him a chance? Everyone you meet, you mention the dancing destroyer. You can't hide from Herbie. If you can't dance, you've got no chance, hoping that some of it sticks.
I've probably got an impatient young man here, but there is no need to be. There is no need to be impatient. The patience is now. There's nothing out there. When push comes to shove, when you get through the bullshit, there is nothing there.
Frank Boyle cannot box to save his mother's life, and he was outboxing Lewis.
I remember, you know, he put something on Tyson in the first round.
Yeah, he did. But then he apologised straight off, didn't he? Did I throw that punch? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please, please.
What are your plans? What are you guys going to do?
Well, we're looking for Morrison, and then it's straight into Riddick Bowe. That would be the ideal scenario.
I've heard that Bo's interested.
Yeah, well, we're very interested. I mean, it's a big fight.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's the American scene which is confusing to us.
I like your man, Michael Morrow, too.
You like Morrow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I want to stick my fist up his big mouth. Give him
you really like him, I can see.
Now, don't sit on the fence. Do you fancy the fight or not?
I want to bash him up.